Hey, it's Brock here with Rock Hill Farms, and my daughter has asked me to build her a kitchen table. There's only one little problem, and that is, I don't know how to build a kitchen table. But I figure, how hard can it be? And I've got tons of rough sawn lumber from trees I cut down myself and milled on the Woodland Mills. And I really want to put it to use anyway, so I think we're going to try this stack of boards right here, see if I can turn this stack into a table. It's oak and it's been in here drying for over a year, so we shouldn't have to worry about it warping or twisting after the fact. But first thing I need to do is get this stack moved, get it all laid out, and then I'm going to have to plane it to thickness. This is a 15-inch grizzly planer, and we've got a dust collector hooked to it. You almost have to have a dust collector on a planer like this or they'll clog up in a hurry. So we've decided what lumber we're going to use. Now we need to plane it all to the same thickness. So we're going to pass through each board before adjusting the setting. That way, the finished product, they all come out the same. Most of this was all pretty flat, which we know a planer doesn't actually flatten it. It just makes it a uniform thickness. But I think one pass on each side is still going to leave us with a full inch of material to work with and get it good enough for this first set of passes. Now we have a stack of lumber that is all the same thickness, which is a true 1 inch. And I brought my dad in for a little bit of help and expertise. We have our basic idea for the table. Will be slats running long ways with a cap board on each end. We have our dimensions. But what we don't have still is usable lumber. So even though these are the same thicknesses, they are rough cut, and that goes both directions. So if you put these two boards against each other, there's a big gap here and a big gap here. And so that's the next question, is how are we going to deal with straightening these up enough that they can butt up against each other for a tabletop?
Yeah. Brock said the wrong thing. He said a little bit of expertise or something like that. Makes it sound like I know what I'm doing. I've built a couple tables and they've lasted 15, 20 years. This is not the only way to make a table. It may not even be the best way to make a table. It's the way we're going to make a table with the tools and materials we have.
So like I said, my dad's a woodworking expert and he's about to teach us how to do this. So how are we going to get these to butt up against each other tight?
Well, I think if we cut them to a rough length, then we can joint the edge to straighten them.
So these boards are about 8 feet long.
Mm-hmm.
Tabletop's going to be 7 feet long, but then we've got about a foot shorter than that when you subtract the ends off. So we're going to find the best 6 feet of this. It's already the straightest, lose any cracked edges, stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And in cutting some of the length off, it makes it a lot easier to handle across the saw, and you eliminate some of your curve, like you said, if you cut off the worst ends.
One of the reasons to cut these a little bit long that I didn't think of, Dad was just telling me, is that we're not getting a square corner right now because we don't have straight sides. So if this has a bow out, then our miter saw, even at 90, is not cutting 90. So now we've cut 7 boards that will make up the lengthways runs on the table saw. Now we're going to cut 2 at 46, even though they're going to end up at 42. We're just kind of roughing in the lengths we need to make joining easier. So you saw the big gap a minute ago, a little bit with the joiner. Now it looks like one of these 2 boards still is sticking out further in the middle and the end. Because we're touching from here to here or from there to there.
Yeah, that's a big difference from the 3/8 gap we had to start with. 3/8 of an inch, but yeah, we're not quite there yet.
It looks to me like this is the one that's not straight, but I can't say that for sure. So we made one more pass and we're still, oh, it's definitely closer. Now our seam's tight down to about the last foot or so. The good thing is I've got a level that's as long as our boards almost. And yeah, we're straight. You can see where it comes off. See, this one is pretty much perfect.
Yep.
So for those of you who don't know, a jointer gives you one straight edge that is always 90 degrees to your planed edge. Okay, so we've laid out our boards. This is the table. These are the supports under the table that give it strength. And we're going to attach all this with pocket holes. So we've went through and marked everywhere that a pocket hole screw should be. X here, 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 here on each board. And then staggered, this screw goes in this way and we'll have one coming this way. So on this side, we've got our marks all the way down for our pocket hole screws. Same thing with these boards. We want one screw here, 2, 2, 2, 2, and 1. So we went through and made marks on everywhere we need a pocket hole. I've numbered the boards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 so that they go back together right. And now we've got a lot of pocket holes to drill. For those who haven't seen it, this is our homemade Craig drilling station. It's got a foot pedal that fires air cylinders. When we release that, this will drop back and we put our workpiece in it. The way we used this previously, it had a pattern with where these were at in relation to our workpiece. This is going to be more random. So this one lines up with a hole, so does this one and this one. So I can drill 3 of them. We'll hit the foot pedal and we'll get this one. You hear that air rush? That's not just like exhaust from the cylinder. That is designed to blow the wood chips out, or the sawdust. So when this kicks back, automatically blows it out. That's my dad's design. Pretty slick. We've got a video just talking about the design of this. I'll put a link at the end of this video. That took about 10 minutes.
Okay.
I have no idea.
15.
I don't know how long it took, but that Craig jig is fast. And now we've got all the holes drilled and we can just start zipping this together. I think we're going to put the screws in from these support boards down into it first, because that will level them with each other as much as possible. Then we'll run the screws to attach the boards to each other. Because we're using so many pocket holes, we decided that we don't need to glue the planks up. Is that true or not? Who knows? But that's what we're going to do.
That table that I built for your mom, I didn't glue the boards, and I know it's been 20 years.
The table's also going to have a skirt around the outside that the legs sit in. It'll be taller than this, but these boards here that add strength to the tabletop will also be pocket holed into that skirt. So we've got our spacing. That skirt's going to be 2 inches in, plus the 1 inch thickness of the board. So we've got this 3-inch spacer here to tell us where to place our support boards. Now we can start running screws. We used to use a lot of Craig screws in manufacturing, and these are 5,000 screw boxes. I think I've got like 5 boxes over there, so any kind of project that uses Craig screws, I'm in. As it flips, I want you to go dun dun dun.
Probably fall apart.
Oh dang, that's beautiful.
I think it will be.
Why isn't it flat? Who was in charge of making sure this was flat?
I messed up.
So the truth is,
rookie mistake.
When I was planing them, I was trying to keep the thickness, and I should have done more passes with the planer, but not too bad. There's some little lips here that'll have to be sanded. So now we've got our pocket holes drilled in this board, and we're ready to attach the end cap. But if you look, this board's sticking out just a little bit further than these on this end. That's not going to give us a good tight fit. So we're going to sand this board down just a little bit to make it fit. So I decided to put a 4-inch skirt around the table, 2 inches in. And if you're new here, you're probably wondering like what plans I'm using, or if I'm going to share my measurements. I have not written anything down. I had no plan. She said she wanted a table. She sent me a picture of a generic table. I'm just winging it, and I always just wing it, and it usually works out pretty good. We'll see this time. So for the skirts, I just cut them a couple inches shorter than the finished length of the table. Pocket hole all through those. The end boards, pocket holes. Everything's ready to screw together. Now, if I had a plan, there wouldn't be a pocket screw outside of the skirt board. I don't have a plan, so that's what we get. And the end cap for the skirt is pocket hole to the side and down. It's a pocket hole party around here. I looked at a bunch of different ways to attach table legs. The legs on the table in my house, which it's a really nice table, it's well built, but they have an angle cut on here, and then they put an angle board across here, and then they screw the leg in through that. I think it's actually bolts with anchor system. I could do something like that. I saw people actually attaching the legs using pocket holes in this, like it was setting here, and they had pocket hole screws going into the legs. You can tell I like using pocket hole screws, but not for that. I don't think that's strong enough. So what I'm going to do, I've made another board here. This is going to attach to the table the same way all the other ones do. Pocket hole screws going down, pocket hole screws going into this. Now this board will be as strong as anything on the table. Then I can bolt directly through here into the leg, and I think I'm going to put a couple screws, like 3-inch deck screw type of screws, countersunk in right here. Well, it looks like a table, which is pretty cool. My helper's over there. Buddy, I need you all the way out of the way while I flip this over. Come all the way over here. Now, for the moment of truth, see how it looks on the ground. So as I was getting ready to take that off the table, I was thinking about the weight of a normal table. That is not the weight of a normal table. That sucker is heavy because it's all solid oak, rough cut. There's no pine or particle board or anything like that in it, which is what makes it cool in my mind. So I went in and grabbed one of our chairs from our kitchen table to make sure that it was going to be a comfortable height. And it is, which I should have known. I took measurements off of our table, so it's going to be the same height. I've only got one job left I'm going to do, which is router these edges. But I think I'll just do that tomorrow. But I'm just going to run a router around the outside with a very light touch on it and just break the edge. And my daughter was just here. I told her that, you know, this is your Christmas present. Merry Christmas. And I'm going to let her finish it. So there's some sanding on the top. If this was my table, I wouldn't sand it any at all. It's smooth enough. And the little wavy spots or rough spots, I would say give it character. If she wants like a nice gloss finish on it, then she can sand it as smooth as she wants. She can pick the colors she wants to stain it. I'm actually going to do two things. I'm going to sand right here where these screw holes are, and I'm going to route the edges. And she can come over here and finish it when she's ready. This is the first table I've ever built. It's pretty solid. I mean, I'm kind of lifting the corner when I do that, but it's not, the table's not rocking or anything like that. I think it looks pretty nice. It's solid as a rock and it's heavy. So I'm really happy with it. I appreciate you taking time to watch the video. I'll put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.